For the third time in about 4 weeks, DJ, I'm going to call you out for just being a terrible friend. Do you have any reason why this week I'm going to be calling you out?
I have gambling. I have no idea.
Here's the reason. I told you during our podcast that I'm going to bet real money on the New York Jets, and they failed to score a single point. A real friend, I know you advised me not to, a real friend would have come over and blocked my account and definitely not let it happen.
You know what? I can only do so much, and you refuse to hear it. I gotta let you make your own mistakes. It's like your son, your kid, your daughter. You let them make your mistakes. I gotta treat you like my son the way I'm gambling right now, and you'll probably start to tail me now.
I haven't stopped drinking since the Jets haven't scored. So let's keep it up and get loaded, because this is the Loaded Box Podcast,
where we never finish first because we finish last. Look how big this beer is.
That looks like a giant beer.
So
that looks like a week 4 preview beer right there. That is a monster.
So I got the Quick Trip and I was getting some food and I was like, I don't really have beer. So I was like, I'll just get one huge one. And that's what I went with.
I thought maybe it was a celebratory beer because...
Well, hold on a sec. While I interrupt you real quick.
Oh, God.
We're back, baby. We are back.
According to you, you never left. That Saints game was a fluke.
It was a fluke. I said that, but like the real tough game for the naysayers who says Aaron Rodgers don't care. Then and 37 seconds. I sent a text message at 37 seconds, and I go. All I said was, "That's enough time." That's all I had to say. That's all I had to say. And it was just, history. Like, we've seen it too much. I think you were sleeping. You weren't responding to any of my texts where I said, my favorite thing about Ben, I'm going to just go on a rant right now, is he's like, oh, tell me what quarterback can survive behind this Dolphins offensive line. I wish that the Green Bay Packers had the Dolphins offensive line on Sunday night, because we were put together 2 rookies and 3 guys off the street. One guy's name is Yash. His name is Yash.
I heard that today. That's funny to me.
And all that Rodgers did was get the ball out quick, accurately, on time. And all I kept sending to you is see. And I knew if they lost that game, I knew you're sitting there waiting. If they lost that game, you're going to send me back see, and that's it. And when they pulled that off, I just sent one final word. Oh, man. What a fucking night.
You know why I didn't respond to any of your text messages? Because when you have to wait for 3 o'clock for your game to start, because I love a noon start, but when you have to wait until 3 o'clock for your game to start, and then it literally goes as long as a game can go, like overtime, all the 10 minutes, and then you still lose, your heart is broken for the remainder of the night. Like, that's how that goes. So, yeah, I threw my phone out the window.
You knew that you were losing, though, because I said something about you guys winning. You go, I win. I said, this game's going to end in a tie. You said, I wish. And I knew you thought it was like you were losing.
I've hardly ever been in that situation where it's like, oh, God, like no one wants a tie. If you could have given me a tie in that game as soon as overtime started, I would have signed up for it.
I know. It was so funny how negative you were about it.
DJ, I was gonna say, man, I thought that beer was extra big because it was a reason for celebration, because you just went muck duck on the schedule last week. 4-1 overall, plus 1.8 units. Your year-to-date record is now 11-6, plus 4.4 units. But if you remember, I think you did the same kind of deal last year, and then it just kind of went south. So. Yeah. You got a strategy? What's going to happen this year?
My strategy this year is keep fucking winning. And I also hit my second money line parlay in a row. I gave you guys this one. I didn't give anybody one last week, but 2 weeks ago, I gave out my money line parlay, which hit and cashed with the Packers Sunday night at plus 820 or at 830.
I thought it was plus 950 or something.
It was 930.
Yeah, around there.
So if you bet $100, you win $930. Cash that. I've hit that 2 weeks in a row. I don't think there's anybody in the world hotter than me right now.
That was an impressive hit. I'll give you that. I kind of came back to reality last week. I went 1-3. I lost only 0.2 units. So for the year to date, I'm 7-6, still plus 0.7 units. So feeling good about it. But DJ, I had to double check with you before we started this episode. This is probably the biggest play that you've had that any of us have had on a game this year. Are you just super confident in this Bucs Patriots game? Is this entering game of the year territory? Or are you not quite there yet?
This is about as big as a lock as you can possibly have. Am I talking about this game? Are you bringing my biggest fucking game in game number one?
I want to start out with the grand slam hitter,
You don't
even
even
though we
like
have
to
no one
tease,
on
like-
base. I want nobody on base. I want a leadoff home run.
You could tease this and say DJ has the hottest gambler. DJ has the biggest bet of his life Sunday night, saved for the end of the podcast. But no, you drop it right at the beginning, and nobody has to wait any time to hear it.
Yeah, but it's so easy. Like if you said that, someone could just fast forward and just listen to it anyways. Podcasts are too easy to navigate these
But
days.
it's more fun to listen to me fucking win.
Well, I want to hear what you have to say about this because I honestly wanted to put the Patriots in as my two-team tease of the week and bump the Bucks up to like 13 and take the Patriots.
No, I mean this game's a blowout. Like Tom Brady playing great, going into Foxborough.
What you just said, they're in the Foxborough. Bill Belichick. You
What, it's
think they're
Bill
going to blow them out?
Belichick, the Belichick thing is over. I'm done. It's
Maybe.
over. It means nothing to me. That it's run its course. I've tried to defend it. I was wrong all along. It was Brady, not Belichick. Brady's the better coach of every other team than Belichick. I hand up, that one was on me. He's not the greatest quarterback of all time, not by any means, but it's more Brady than Belichick. And this defense is going to crush Mac Jones. Mac Jones you anointed this guy. I love how you like.
I did not anoint him.
Yes, you did. You're like, Mac
No.
Jones is pretty good because your bar was the Miami Dolphins offense or defense. Miami sucks, Ben. Miami just sucks. So that's not.
You've offended me like 6 times already, by the way.
I'm not going to make a judgment on Mac Jones. Now I've seen what Mac Jones is. I said last week, I don't think the Patriots are very good. They're not. They're not a good football team. I'm offended that this is only a 7-point game. There should be a 14 to 16-point game. They are almost as bad as they're just a step above the New York Jets. Just a step above the New York Jets. No doubt in my mind. That whole AFC East is bad. Tampa Bay comes in, and this game's over within. It's going to be all exciting, and everybody's all crying about the coming home thing that NBC did the other night. I don't. It means it does nothing. Tom Brady's going to murder these guys. It's going to be 38 to 10 probably.
You know the one reason why I think, like, if you win, why I don't mind this play is because Tampa Bay kind of got it handed to them last week. If they'd have won this game, we're still undefeated, and that was a whole deal. Like I wouldn't be as down on this. But the fact that they're coming off of a loss, it's like, what are the odds that they struggle 2 games in a row or lose 2 games in a row? So I don't have a side on this one. It's not that I ultimately disagree with you. I do, hands down, the Bucs are a better team than the Patriots this year. I don't think we're breaking any news by saying that. I'm just saying, if I were to make a play on this game, which I'm not, I would bump that up to 13 as part of a 2-team tease because I am very confident that the Patriots are hanging within 2 touchdowns.
No, they're terrible. And I told you, wait, did you bet the Patriots last week? And I told you Saints defense, Peyton is better against rookies. And then I even sent you a stat before the games to try to lean you back towards the Saints. And again, you didn't fucking listen to me. I'm the hottest gambler in the NFL right now, and you're not listening to me.
Shitty friend, you need to drive to my house and take my phone.
I know. And you're going to make the same fucking mistake. They're going to get blown out of this game.
I was like 9-0 last week against the spread. And then you should have faded me. So the fact that you won all these games last week, I just can't wait to be on the other side of all these.
Hello from the other side.
Hello from the other side. DJ, actually, the next 3 games that we have are all somewhat related to each other. Follow me here if you can.
All right.
We've got the Eagles and the Chiefs as an official play. I'll put one up just so that we have that. I have a 2-team teaser that involves that game. And then the other side of my teaser involves the game that you're on your next play. So we can just intertwine these 3.
Okay.
But let's kick it off with what you've got in the Eagles and the Chiefs game.
Okay, so I like the Eagles +7 versus the Chiefs. Here's why. I'm not comfortable unless I'm uncomfortable. And everybody and their mom. Chiefs are 1-2, coming off of 2 losses in a row, I believe, against Baltimore and the Chargers, which I nailed. And the Chargers, God, I'm just on fire. Winning that game straight up last week. That was a money line pick for me. You're welcome. It's in Philadelphia. They have a solid defense, and I just haven't seen enough to think the Chiefs can win by more than 7 points against anybody. I think the Eagles will change up their game plan. They'll run the ball more than they did. Jalen Hurts will be running, but they can slow down Mahomes. And there's nothing that the Patriots or the Chiefs have done in the last 2 years that has shown me they can cover a spread. I'm not jumping on that Chiefs side with the 90% of the public that's going to. I'm going to fade the public hard. I'm all over the Eagles. +7. I love that pick. I almost did a 0.5 unit. I only did 0.3 units, but I'm seeing the board. The Eagles are covering the spread. It's going to be close. The Chiefs just haven't been. They haven't done it for me.
You think the Eagles are going to try to run the ball this week?
They have to. I mean, Miles Sanders had 2 carries for 27 yards. So he's at 13.5 yards per carry.
And it's not like, I mean, granted.
And it was close in like the third quarter.
Yeah. Dallas scored right away, but the Eagles got that defensive touchdown, and it was 7-7. Like there was time to run the ball in that game. The fact that they didn't blows my mind. I'll go into mine. I'll just put it on the ticker on YouTube and Twitter. So I've got this game as well as part of my official 2-team tease. I've got 0.2 units on this. So going into the Chiefs and Eagles part of it. So I'm going to bump the Chiefs down to 1.
We can both win.
Exactly. We talked about this. The Chiefs have been terrible against the spread, but when you can alter the spread by damn near a touchdown, it's a brand new ball game. And do we see the Chiefs losing 2 games in a row? I don't think so. Or would it be 3 games in a row now?
It would be 3 games in a row.
I don't see that happening. I guess I didn't see them losing 2 games.
They're last in the AFC West right now.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to last for too long. The other thing here is
Colin Cowherd has the Broncos as their number 3 team in the NFL, and I wanted to flip everything over in front of me. I about lost my mind.
The Vikings should be, if we're talking about wild teams. I mean, we can get to them, but man, they could be 3-0 right now.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs here, you're just going to make me win by literally 2 to win this teaser.
Uh-oh. Did we have the old Ben freeze out? Am I going to have to hold the podcast up? Is this going to turn into an episode of Friday Night Lines? What are we talking about here? So let's jump in. Let's just jump in. It's all me. I'm going to filibuster here. We were talking Eagles Chiefs. I know he was taking him. He was teasing him like Ben does. He likes to tease things. Minus the 1. And I had the Eagles at +7. So in order for us to win, it's a nice little margin. But as he was saying, I think the Chiefs will win this game. I do. I just think 7 points is a lot for a team that has kind of been struggling and hasn't been covering spreads for a long time. When, like I said, 90% of people haven't looked at it yet, but you can assume that 90% of all public is going to be on the Chiefs side, where I think you're going to see a lot of the sharp money watching that spread go up to 8, 9, 10 points. You could probably wait and get it for more points. Watching that spread go up. I mean, yeah. Hi, how you doing?
Hey, DJ.
You probably can wait and get that game and get it at more points if you're an Eagles better.
Did you improvise well without me?
I froze for a second because I wasn't sure, and then I was like, all right, I'm just going to go.
I went upstairs and even yelled at my wife and told her to get off the internet, and she wasn't on it.
Yeah, I had some stuff going. I just started to break it down like Las Vegas style.
Perfect. No, I don't have too much more to say this one. Where I was going with, like, I think you even texted me during that Cowboys-Eagles games. It's like, we're kind of done with Jalen Hurts already, right?
I was done with Jalen Hurts the second he was drafted.
Yeah, I literally, when they drafted him in the second round, I'm like, wow, they reached early for a gimmick quarterback that they're going to use sparingly. I never thought he would be the guy, you know?
I thought he was a 5th to 7th round quarterback after watching him at Oklahoma. And you could see when he threw the ball outside the numbers on quick passes, he was slow. Like, he was late on those throws, and then his arm is Tua Tagovailoa.
No. Did you just combine Tagovailoa and ravioli?
I don't know. It's just it's similar, so you got to throw the E at the end.
I like that. Honestly, and if he was ever going to be a team starter, it was going to have to be something where he was sitting for a long time beforehand. Like, this wasn't enough time. He got thrown in his rookie year. It wasn't enough time.
Good.
They needed to let him bake a little bit longer. So I'm just taking the better team here that only has to win by 2. It's pretty easy on that side. The other one I've got here, and it'll kind of bleed in because you've got something on this game as well. The Seahawks are at the 49ers. It's 49ers by 3. I'm bumping that up to 9. These teams, I don't have the data in front of me, always seem to play each other close, though. They are close games, and it's not going to surprise me whatsoever if the Seahawks outright win this. And now I'm damn near getting 10 points. I'm taking Seattle. They're coming off of that tough loss against the Vikings. Like I said, man, Vikings, kind of a sneaky little good team here too. But I still like what Seattle's doing. They've shown that they can run the ball. Carson's having a nice season. Lockett and DK, they are what they are. They're going to be plenty fine. Russell's been in these situations before. And at the end of the day, that 49ers team is good. And you can probably talk a little bit more about this. But they're not like overwhelming good. Like that Super Bowl team, they don't have that going on quite yet.
I don't think they're good. I think if we have a 80% offensive line, it's not. I mean, we go up like 17 or something like nothing basically. But if we have a decent offensive line that game, they never even get into that game. I mean, I think we score 40 points. I mean, Bosa made. I think they had 1 sack the entire game. That we outmuscled the Niners. I didn't expect that. Offensively and defensively, we played more physical, which was the problem 2 years ago. And their secondary is just decimated. They weren't good anyways, and they're just decimated. Everybody's getting hurt. And that's why I have the over in this 52. What is it? 52 and a.
You got 52 points? Even. Yeah, I'll put that one up.
52 points. I've got the over in here. The Seahawks are going to be able to score, I think, at will with Lockett and Metcalf. But back at the same time, I mean, they have weapons on offense, and I think Trey Lance is going to get out there more and more and more. It's weird. Yeah. You can see the story change in this game where, like, I think if they won that game at the end against the Packers, Garoppolo's like starter the rest of the year. But, like, that loss, almost just that close of a margin, that loss changes a lot. But he had so many dumb plays. Like, he threw the ball backwards. He threw the ball. Did you watch the game, actually? I
saw quite a bit of it. I would be lying if I said I saw the whole thing, though.
Can you tell me why the refs were is that the worst officiated game you've ever seen in the history of football?
I don't like to comment on officiating.
Devontae Adams almost got murdered.
He almost died. I also found it was funny
and
at one point.
Roughing the passer on the Packers that didn't exist, but Devontae almost died.
I also found it funny. It was it the 49ers that gave up like 3 straight first downs all on pass interference calls?
Yeah. Well, those were pass interferences, but maybe one of them wasn't, but there was a couple that 100% were. And then there was the pass interference the Packers had for Stokes where he literally didn't even touch the guy.
That was a terrible call. I'll give you that one.
I was shocked by that. And the Niners did get screwed over on a bunch of calls too, where I was like, okay, they got screwed over there. And it was like rough. Both sides of the fence were like massively frustrated. But I think when Devontae got knocked out, I guess not knocked out because he came in one play later, which was the most shocking when I was looking down and I heard him say Adams in the slot. And I was like, he said the wrong name. And then Rodgers threw the ball in his direction. I'm like, what are we watching here? He just got knocked out on the field. But
he shouldn't be out there.
Niners and Packers fans were collectively together after that Devontae Adams hit. Shocked that there was no flag thrown. Anyways, I like the over. The Niners could score on the Seattle defense. Niners defense they're just not that good. They aren't.
Yeah. The only thing I was going to add on that as well, it's like, who do you fear on that line? I mean, obviously, like Bosa. I mean, he's an elite pass rusher, but we're not talking about a stick figure back there. We're not talking about like a Tom Brady or a Mac Jones. We're not talking about guys that can't move. We're talking about Russell Wilson. He can get out. He can extend. He can extend plays outside of the pocket. He can tuck it and run if he needs to. So, yeah, I love this. I'm damn near getting double-digit points on this one. So, DJ, you obviously have the over, and I have the Seahawks +9 as part of my 2-team teaser at 0.2 units. DJ, we've talked about the Packers a little bit already. However, we're going to talk about them a little bit more because you're sticking to your guns. You're playing with them again this week.
You give me less than I should probably put this bet in now because the fact that you're giving me less than a touchdown versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I saw a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan who's works for Barstool Sports and he got all cocky after that Buffalo Bills game. And we are watching the Steelers that ended the season last year. Did you see the rollout pass by Roethlisberger? Is that what you're going to say?
Where he tripped and dunked it?
What did he trip on? I mean, what is he doing?
I think that was the 14-yard line.
he just ran to the right and just fell in through it. Like it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on there. Pittsburgh, the Steelers fans are trying to run him out. This is a bad football team.
He's been kind of done for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. He lost all that weight, best shape of his life. It looks like he was worse than last year.
He's a skyscraper with legs. He's not moving anywhere.
I think his only benefit to him last year was that he has that weight to like bang off of guys, and now he just can't even like walk like he's a deer.
Well, what was the end of that game? It was like 4th and 10 or 4th and goal or whatever, and he threw like a 5-yard out.
Yeah, that was one of them. No, it was a throw on the flats. He threw to the running back in the flats.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And I was looking like,
really? You've been in the league for how many years?
It was 4th and 10. He just threw the ball in the flats. Did he not know it was 4th down?
Had to have.
I think his memory's gone too.
Maybe.
And we're gonna beat the Niners in that game where we should have won by 20, and we're not gonna beat the Steelers by 40 points.
This is the perfect example of why you can never overreact to week 1, because the Steelers did beat the Bills, and you know what the Bills have done ever since then? They've outscored their opponents like 70-20. Mm-hmm. Like they've just been steamrolling through the league the next 2 weeks, and they somehow lost to Pittsburgh.
0.6 units on the Packers. Like, lock that in. And my best bets this year, I have not lost a bet 0.5 or higher.
That's good. I was gonna that's what I was gonna question you on this one. Not so much that you're taking the Packers, but that 0.7 has been your friend. Why are you dumping down to 0.6?
I was 0.6 comfortable with it.
Do you think Najee Harris is gonna catch 4,000 passes this season?
Is he even having a good season yet, or is he just catching it? Because he's only got like 120 something rushing yards.
He's been hit at or behind the line of scrimmage on handoffs more than any running back in the entire NFL.
That's another reason why I was down on Najee Harris coming in, where everybody was so high. I'm like, their offensive line isn't good.
It's not a him problem.
No, but like everybody was like, oh, Najee Harris, blah, blah, blah. He's going to have a million carries. It doesn't matter if you're getting hit every time. I nailed it again. Javonte working his way back in, had a touchdown this week, but also had a fumble. He got lit the fuck up on that fumble. But Najee, that's tough, man. But
when you draft Najee, if we transition to fantasy football here for 30 seconds, if you drafted him in like PPR or half PPR, he's doing fine.
That's why I hate PPR. That's why I hate PPR.
Because Jalen Waddle had 12 points on just receptions, even though he had 50 yards.
That's why I think it makes it you just have to be an average drafter in order to be successful in PPR, because you can get 12 catches for no yards and you have 12 points.
I know we're not talking about the Dolphins, but Jalen Waddle's stat line made Jarvis Landry's old stat lines look like Randy Moss stat lines.
Let's talk about the Dolphins for a second.
I don't want
to. People are saying Jacoby Brissett is a better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa.
All right, ravioli boy. I'm moving on to the Rams and the Cardinals because I'm intrigued by this game. I'm excited for this game. I don't know that I've ever been more excited for a Rams and Cardinals game. Mm-hmm. And it's because the Cardinals have one of the most fun offenses to watch. And
they suck.
It's fun to watch, though. Like, I caught myself watching the Cardinals-Jaguars game more than I should have last week.
They weren't even good against the Jaguars.
Yeah, they still scored 30-some points.
Did they score that much? I felt like I only saw 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and because they scored on defense as well.
Because Kyler Murray had a rushing touchdown.
It was like 30-19 or 31-19. Because I bet the over and I lost it by like a point.
It was, that offense is not really that good. I really don't think they are. They're exciting to watch because he runs around.
And it's fun.
But he's played against trash. And you see what he does. Even like the Jaguars, he throws dumb interceptions, Kyler Murray. He's done that.
We talked about that. That's what he does that.
But I imagine going up against a Rams team here, the best defense. He's gonna
That's why it's going to be a fun game, though.
No, Donald is going to rip his life apart. That's what he does. He's going to throw 3 to 4 interceptions, and they're going to score 10 to 14 points. I really don't think this game is close.
Why don't you take the under then? It's like 55, isn't it?
Stafford is playing out of his mind. My future MVP bet is looking great. Stafford is the happiest person on earth right now. On fucking earth.
I can't come up with who's the second happiest. Because he is far and away the guy.
If the Packers do not win the Super Bowl, and we lose in the NFC Championship game for the third year in a row, I will cheer for Stafford to be the guy that beats him. I don't even care. He deserves it. He deserves it. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's played with a trash organization where guys retire early, and he stuck it out this entire time. And no, 4.5 points with him and Cooper Kupp. Robert Woods is going to have a huge game. He's just like coming along slow.
He's on the brink of a breakout.
He is, because everybody's going to cover Cooper Kupp, and eventually they're just going to let Woods run loose, and it's going to be a huge game for him. But this team, to me, I honestly think they might not lose a game. I really believe. I am at the point now where I am a believer that they don't lose a football game now. I really do.
Do you think the fact that they don't have like that one running back that you can rely on a weekly basis is going to come back to bite them, or is their passing offense just so good? Like, who cares? We'll be fine.
Their defense and their offensive scheme is that's the best team in the NFL right now. I don't think it's even close.
It'd be hard for me to pick a different team over them.
It's not even close.
The reason why I'm off this game is just because of the whole like divisional aspect of it.
The Cardinals
divisional games are weird, man.
They're just not. I mean, they have a decent pass rush. I'll give them that, and that might give them a little bit of trouble. But I just don't think they're going to score like people have seen them scoring, and they're going to over-excite like this Cardinals team. And with my eyes, I can see that number one. What's the stupid coach's name with a big house? Kingsbury he's the worst coach in football. He's the worst coach in football. He's a terrible coach. He's really bad at coaching football. So he's going to continue to make mistakes and call dumb plays. Murray's going to do these things where he's running around too much. And when he plays against a decent to good defense, it's going to turn to turnovers, interceptions, and sacks. That's all it's going to be. And then it's not going to be so cute for the Cardinals fans anymore.
Part of me wants to do the trendy thing and just pick the over in this and just cheer for a fun game to watch. If it lives up to the hype, it's going over.
Here's one area you can fade me. I haven't won an over-under yet this year. That's why I only do 0.1 units on them. So if you are seeing my over-under bets, I would suggest you fade my bets on the over-unders.
That's pretty incredible. DJ, before we go on to the next game, I've got a play here on the next one. Do you know what I'm doing this weekend?
Play with your wee-wee?
Play with my wee-wee. We know it, but after that, it's our local Oktoberfest weekend, DJ.
Oh God!
Here's the deal, though. Here's the deal.
Did we get that float
next year? I'm going to be going to that parade. I'm going to be hammering some Busch Lights. I'm going to be taking Jello shots. I'm going to be eating great food. But guess what?
Family.
I have to go home because I've got 2 kids now.
No, that's not true.
But you know what? That opens up the door for is me getting home around like 1 or so, firing up that grill, throwing the man grates on, and then just taking my buzz to the next level with some great ass food. I'm talking steaks. I'm talking chicken. I'm talking whatever you want to put on there. Smoke some salmon on that thing. It's not going to stick. You're going to get great grill marks, and that thing's going to heat so evenly. You're not going to be worrying about like hot and cold parts of your grill. You can join me, 25% off grates and brushes at mangrate.com. Use promo code LOADED, mangrate.com. Use promo code LOADED. Get a little buzz, get a little food, put it on the man grate. It's going to do the work for you. DJ, you're missing out. That's all I got to say.
What do you mean I'm missing out? I have a man grate.
I'm just saying you're missing out on this weekend's man grate.
Oh, God. I mean, I'd rather grill on my grand grate than your grand grate because I guarantee my grilling skills on the man grate are better than yours.
That was like a Dr. Seuss riddle.
Don't slice me.
DM me if you want to know the story behind Dr. Seuss. DJ, I've got an official play here on the Washington football team, and that sounds a little bit crazy. However, I'm here to tell you that it's not. They're favored by 1.5. Best thing, it's against the Falcons. Falcons are also struggling. Off to a 1-2 start, but let's dissect the Washington football team a little bit. Lost week 1, 20-16 against the Chargers. Chargers have proven to be pretty good so far, and that game could have went either way. Like that came down to the wire. Beat the Giants, should have lost to the Giants, but beat them by 1. A win's a win. We'll take it. Then they got muck-ducked by the Bills. Granted, let's put this in perspective. The Bills are a top.
You're so white.
The Bills are a top 2 team in the AFC right now, however you want to put it. Didn't expect Washington to really compete in that game anyways. Now you're getting the Falcons. a team that I'm not scared of, a team that has not shown any life on offense yet. Calvin
Who
Ridley
they beat
is,
last week?
who, the Falcons?
Yeah.
They played the Giants last week as well.
Yeah. How bad are that fucking team? I love it. I love how bad they are.
We'll get to them.
Go
I'm
ahead,
going to play on the Giants later.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. The Falcons offense has not shown anything yet. Calvin Ridley's got a career low in yards per catch, which isn't going to last too long, which is funny because over the last 2-3 years, he's been one of the more consistent, big play receivers. Hasn't been there. Guess what? When you drafted Kyle Pitts in the 4th, 5th round of your fantasy draft, how's that working out? Everyone that said he's going to have to set rookie tight end records to justify that, they were right. He's a great player, but it's not there yet. What's the run?
I don't think it's a Kyle Pitts thing. He looks fucking athletic as
I
shit.
love Kyle Pitts, but the offense just isn't there yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The offense isn't there
Right.
yet. I don't think it's a Kyle Pitts issue at all. The offensive line is bad, and Matt Ryan is old. He's not Ben Roethlisberger bad, but he ain't good.
He's on the verge though, and then you look at the running game. Everyone's like, "Oh, Mike Davis, man, he filled in nice for CMC." You brought him in.
You about the Mike Davis and the Falcons.
Yeah, don't rely on that guy. You know who's the one getting the carries? Cordero Patterson. Unbelievable. This team is a train wreck, and I still, despite the fact that they're only 1-2 right now, and they lost Fitzpatrick, I'm still a believer in the Washington football team. And the fact that they only need to win by 2, I'm good with this. And I'm not jumping out of my shoes with a bet here. I'm only going 0.2 units, but I'm making it an official play. I like this pick.
I was hoping to put 9 games on here just because I've been so successful and cocky. This one I heavily considered. I was going to be on the Washington Football Club, Washington FC side, 100%. I'll probably end up betting on it just because you did, and it's one that I didn't. Let me tell you a little secret about what I do on Sundays, Ben. I bet all my games, and if you have a game that you bet on that I kind of liked, I'll bet that side. Or if you have a game that I argued that I don't like, I'll bet the opposite side, which worked out really good for me this weekend.
Not a bad strategy. I do something fairly similar because we get to talk these games out a little bit. So I looked at the schedule and I'm trying to think the team that it was last week, because I only went 1-3 or whatever. But in reality, I ended up betting on one of your games after we talked about it. I won money last week because I bet on that game as well, and I put more money on it. I forgot who it was now.
I had a buddy of ours. Actually, let you keep talking to Eaton.
Oh, I was going to move on to the next game here, and it's one of your games. Is that what your wife brought you down about 5 minutes ago? Did she bring you a pizza?
I got an appetite from coaching football, bro. I was out there just.
The funny thing is, you get hand service. Someone made your pizza and brought it to you, and you were on the losing end as a football coach for what, 5-year-olds?
No, we it was close. I don't know if we lost or not. We had the lead, then they scored a touchdown. I don't know if that tied it or have them gave the lead, but it was tight.
Fair enough.
But I coached my ass off. It was one of the best defensive games I've called in those 5 to 6 year old leagues, man. I was putting guys out there. I was pointing at the coach. I threw 2 touchdown passes today. I was 2 for 2 with 2 touchdowns. Way better than Matt Ryan.
Wait, I thought you were Rob Ryan, and all of a sudden now you're Marcus Mariota. Why are you throwing the ball?
Because the coach on offense is also the quarterback for 5, 6-year-olds. So when I was coaching the offense, I was the quarterback, and I threw 2 passes. Both went for 6.
How much do I need to pay to be able to come next week and throw?
You can if you want.
I'll do it.
You might as well. I had one kid run 15 yards downfield. Nobody goes that far. Turn around. I'm like, all right, here we go. Threw it. He fucking got it. This is a 6-year-old and then housed it. Nobody was even near him.
You're putting it on him before he's even out of his break.
I was like, what? All right. Can I say, I had a buddy. You know him. His name is She. Anyways, he went to the casino in Illinois or Iowa where it's legal. He's like, I need all your bets. I'm like, copied and pasted and sent it to him. He's like, I don't know if I like this one. I'm like, dude, take these 2 games for sure. I'm undefeated on. He's like, fuck it. I'm taking all your bets.
God,
at the end of the day, he goes, I'm following you from now on. I'm like, me too.
Follow me too. That's when you send him a $30 Venmo request.
Oh, it was great.
Oh, that's funny. He's going to be so pissed at you after this week.
I know he is. He's like, I don't care. It's gambling.
DJ, with your next bet here, I see that you're going against my team that didn't score last week.
Who is this now? I don't even know who we're on. I have to look at the
Titans
StreamYard.
are favored by 7 against the
Yeah.
Jets.
So what did we talk about last year with the Titans? Do you remember what we said about the Titans last year?
I remember that their quarterback got his name changed to Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that they played a specific kind of defense against the Ravens. If it's not either of those two,
No.
you're going to have to fill in the blanks.
They beat the shit out of really bad teams.
That was
when
the
they
third
play
thing.
bad teams, they make sure they take advantage of that, and they're like bad team bullies. They're tight against good teams every time, even average
That's
teams.
right.
But against bad teams, they beat the shit out of them. And because of that historical significance of them beating the shit out of bad teams, I don't care about the wide receiver situation right now.
Because that's a bad situation.
We'll take that as it comes. AJ Brown's somehow going to surprise us and end up playing because that's what he does, and he'll end up scoring 2 touchdowns in this game because that's what he does. They're going to beat the shit out of the New York Jets. They're just really bad.
It is the Corey Davis revenge game.
Don't care. they beat the shit out of bad teams.
Man.
It's just that's a historical fact. Like last year and coming into this year, they're good enough to still do that. They take advantage of that. Vrabel loves it. They beat the shit out of bad teams. I'm going to ride that minus 7.4 units. I will always take the Titans against a bad team because they beat the fuck out of them.
2 things, DJ. One, you're going to love this game because it can blend in with the noon games, like the main slate. So you're not going to be forced to watch it at like 3 or a primetime game. The other thing I had for you here is the Jets over the last 2 weeks have been outscored 51-6.
Yeah, that's about right.
I took the Jets last week. I defended them long enough, and you heard me stumble through trying to defend the Jets, and I shouldn't have done it. As soon as I started stumbling trying to justify a bet on the Jets, I should have went the other way.
That's what I'm saying. My theory is I would rather lose betting against a team that bad than lose betting the team, like in general. Like I'd rather lose betting against the team that's favored against a team that's bad.
Yeah, that's
lose betting the New York Jets. Like if I lose betting the New York Jets, I'm an idiot. If I lose betting the Titans or whoever they play, fine,
right.
Fuck it. They stayed within 24 points. Congratulations.
Yeah, I can't hate on that. I can't hate on that at all. You got 0.4 units on that one, you said?
0.4 units, baby.
All right. Well, I'm going to stick to my my 0.2 units on my next one. I'm taking a home dog, not by a lot of points. Vikings are getting 2 points against the Browns. I'm going 0.2 units. I hinted on this earlier. Vikings should be 3-0. They lost by 3 points to the Bengals in that game. That was a terrible game. Vikings got out to a terrible start. The next week, they lose to the Cardinals by a point. Had an opportunity to make a field goal literally as time expired. Missed it. And then last week, they looked good. They beat the Seahawks by 13. Say what you want. I know there's a lot of people out there that just don't like Kirk Cousins, and I'm not a Kirk Cousins fan. But the way this team is playing, he's good enough. Like if the defense can hold Seattle to 17, if they can hold most teams around that, their offense is fine enough. They scored 30 last week without Dalvin Cook. I mean, he was kind of out there. He just had Alexander Madison's jersey on. One and the same. We joke about that all the time. But I would assume that he's going to be back. He practiced. They're hoping that he's going to play on Sunday. But those wide receivers, man, Justin Jefferson is a machine. Hats off to you on that one. You were ahead of the curve on that. I remember a year ago, DJ's famous quote, Justin Jefferson, you're about to find the fuck out.
I love that guy, man. I don't care if it's a Vikings player, just because I was so right on him. I'm never going to not like Justin Jefferson.
Right. And guess who's doing it at age like 30 or 31, man? Adam Thielen keeps getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're making it happen. This team is fine. Like there's people out there that don't believe in Kirk Cousins, and that's fine. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan ever, but if the defense can hold a team like Seattle to 17 and that offense can just continue to utilize the running game, whether it's Cook, whether it's Madison, and get those wide receivers involved, they're going to be fine. And I know the Browns are good, but keep in mind, they just beat the piss. And they didn't even beat the piss out of them, but they made the Bears look like nothing. But Justin Fields is in his first ever start. And I didn't see a ton of it, but from what I did see and from what I've read and heard, Matt Nagy was doing no favors for Fields or that offense the way that
Oh
they were
my
trying to
God.
block Myles Garrett. Like if one player
I think
gets
he did that on
4.5
purpose.
sacks, I wouldn't doubt that. If one player, one of the best edge rushers in the NFL, is getting 4.5 sacks and you're not doubling him, chipping him with a running back, throwing a tight end over that side, you're incompetent. Remember earlier in the season when I said Matt Nagy wasn't on the hot seat? That game alone should set his seat on fire.
The
It was
rumor is that the
terrible.
Lions or the Lions beat the Bears this week. He's donezo.
Oh my gosh! If I could backtrack on any of my preseason calls, it would be that, because that game alone was a fireable offense. But yeah, I like the home team here, get points.
Yeah, I guess I don't agree 100% on that one. I think I'm in between here on that, because I understand the hate for, if I'm a Vikings fan, I hate Kirk Cousins because he's good enough to keep you in it, but bad enough to lose every important game ever. And that's just not going to get it done. It's just not going to be the one that he's just not it. They have a future. I don't know if Kellen Mond's the future. I don't know what it is, but they're trying to be done with Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. And it's not even a question. He puts up good numbers. He's a top 12 fantasy quarterback lots of times. When it comes down to fantasy, to real football and us gambling, really, this ain't fantasy. This is real fucking money, all right? This shit matters.
$22.
He's not the guy. He's not the guy by any means, and I can't trust him on a game against a very good team.
He's the guy that can, now that the playoffs have expanded to 7 teams in each conference, he's the guy that can get your team to the playoffs, though. With a decent defense and that offense, he's just not going to be the guy that gets you past like the divisional round. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I like the home game here, and it's the NFL. Weird things happen. The Browns have looked good.
Tough games, though. He just doesn't.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm only going 0.2 units on it. I like it just enough. I'm a home team getting 2 points.
Yeah, nothing better than a home dog.
Yeah. And DJ, you said you haven't hit an over-under yet this season, correct?
Mm-hmm. Never.
But you're trying one here with that Chargers-Raiders game.
So usually I would bet this game over. So I actually faded myself here, and I thought about this.
Now if someone's tailing you, they're not going to know what to do on this game.
Chargers, though, Raiders. The Raiders' defensive line and pass rush has been really good. Like they've been getting to the passer, to the quarterback in like with 4 or 5 guys, like on a consistent basis. Max Crosby's been incredible.
Yeah.
That's about all I know there. The Chargers defense is solid. I just don't think there's going to be as many points. My instinct wanted to tell me to bet the over, so I'm trying to talk myself into the under. Half of it is because the Raiders defense is playing way better than we expected at all this season. So that will push it under. Chargers have trouble scoring in the red zone. Obviously, they didn't because they played against the Chiefs, who have the worst red zone defense in the NFL. Last year, I think they let teams score 77% of the time in the red zone last year. So yeah, they had a good matchup there. Chargers are a good football team. They're going to win a bunch of games. Mikey Williams, love that fucking guy. He makes me so happy right now. But the Chargers defense is solid, obviously, with Bosa. The Raiders defense is way better than people even think of. I'm still lost on defenses thinking they're as good as last year, like the football team. I bet that under against the Bills, forgetting that it's the same defense as last year, but all of a sudden they're playing worse. I thought they played better. I was wrong. They still suck. The football team's defense is still really bad right now. I don't understand why, but it's hard to train your mind to move from the defense of the last year to the defense of next year until like week 5 or 6 when it really starts to like show
itself. Yeah. And defense, I think historically will tell you, is one of the least transferable things from year to year. Yeah. Like when you try to count on stuff like that. I got 2 things I'll say about this one. First and foremost, I've always kind of been on the fence with Derek Carr. But Jesus, in that overtime pass that he dropped in a bucket to Bryan Edwards against 2 defenders, he made plays throughout the game. There was a couple that he missed, but he's fine. He's playing. We talk about like MVPs, like Matt Stafford, and soon enough we're going to have Aaron Rodgers in that conversation. Mahomes is going to find his way in there. Yeah, he is actually. Yeah. I shouldn't even give him shit for that. Derek Carr's on that list.
Yeah.
Josh Allen. Like the list, we're early. so the list is big. You're going to throw Kyler Murray on there as well. But
Yep.
there's no reason to discount Derek Carr right now. I'll give you
For
that.
now. He did this one time like 6 years ago too, but like this a Derek Carr thing starts out hot and then kind of fades into the abyss.
I was just looking. The other thing I was going to say is I was looking at the Chargers game so far, and if you just put like that over under of 52.5 on all their games so far, only last week's have gone over that.
Yep.
When they played Washington, there was only 36 points scored. When they played Dallas, another team with a good offense, there's only 37 points scored. So we look at this Chargers team, and it's Herbert and Mike Williams having 3 weeks. He's got 300 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
Eckler's been really good. Keenan Allen's consistent as hell.
Yep.
But it's not like they've scored 20, 17, and 30.
Does Mike Williams look bigger than everybody else on the field?
Did you see what week was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Tight end.
You know how like when guys are close and there's a defender and they dive into the end zone and just barely make it?
Yeah.
He did that and finished 4 yards into the end zone.
He just looks so big too, and he's shockingly fast.
Yeah, he was. He just doesn't look it just because of how damn big he is.
He
I mean?
almost is like, he reminds me a little bit of Kelvin of Megatron. Like he has that size, he has the speed.
We've never been able to see it. Yeah, we've never been able to see it.
He had the 8 touchdown season. I think he's going to blow that out of the water this year, and he's going to have over 1,200 yards. I think he's going to be a top 10 fantasy receiver this year.
He's already halfway there. He's got 4. He's damn near. He's basically averaging 100 yards a game and 1.3 touchdowns per game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just unbelievable. So yeah, I don't have a strong feeling on that one. I'm just kind of. I'm intrigued by both teams. That's a Monday night game, I think.
Yes, it is. This was my last one on there in orders.
Nice. I have got one more official play here, and it's underwhelming. We talk about ending on the hangover, and I think that's kind of what we're doing right here. I've got the Giants plus 7.5 against the Saints. Saints 2-1 straight up. Giants obviously 0-3 straight up. However, let's take a little dive into this one. Week 1. Giants lose by 14 to the Broncos. Let's not overreact to week 1. Week 1's a tough one. We'll throw that out. They lose to Washington by 1. They should have won that game. They lose to the Falcons by 3. That thing could have went anywhere. The Saints, yes, they were okay last week against New England. Were they great? No. Jameis Winston got yelled at for throwing a touchdown pass in that game. Like they didn't want him throwing a Hail Mary from the 4-yard line. The defense capitalized on some Mac Jones interceptions. I get all that. And it's not like Danny Dimes is any more careful with the ball. He's the least careful quarterback in the NFL with the ball. But you're going to give me 7.5 points here against the Saints, who, despite the fact that they're 2-1, I don't think that they're a 2-1 squad. That team that beat the Packers, throw that game out the window for both teams.
Yeah.
That's not a real thing. You were right. I'll take the hat off to you on last week against New England. It is what it was. But we saw a little bit of something from the Giants over the last 2 weeks. It hasn't been great. Like I said, they lost to Washington and they lost to the Falcons. And that was probably the worst game of all time to have to watch. And the Giants are suffering some injuries at receiver right now. But hopefully if Galladay can stay healthy, if they can finally get Ingram incorporated into the offense now that he's playing. And the biggest thing they got to do, they got to get Saquon involved. He finally scored last week. But he's starting to get more touches. He's dominating that backfield. They got to get him going. I don't think they're going to have a huge issue with the Saints offense. The Saints offense doesn't really scare me. If anything, I feel like there's opportunities waiting whenever you play Jameis Winston. So you're going to give me 7.5 here. I'm all about that. Like I said, I don't have any huge plays this week. This is my smallest one of the week, but I have to bet it just because I like the Giants just enough to be like, if that game ended and I didn't bet on it, I would say, damn it, I should have sprinkled just a little bit on it because I like it enough.
I'm considering making that a moneyline sprinkle on Sunday.
The Giants?
Yeah, I've been looking at it. And I've been looking at Jameis, and I'm like, he's going to make some mistakes this game. Obviously, the Giants are really fucking bad, but I don't. Obviously, the Saints, again, they're not the Packers played them now.
It'd be the opposite.
Yeah, it would literally be they ass blast them.
You just don't want to play them in Jacksonville. You don't want to play the Saints in Jacksonville.
Don't want to do that. But I am
London.
considering a sprinkle in there. I don't know if I will, but maybe. All right. Go ahead.
Oh, the only thing I was going to say, it's kind of like you go back to like New England and playing at New England and that being a huge thing against Belichick. And that's kind of in my mind still against the Saints. Like you never wanted to play the Saints in New Orleans. Like that was a thing. I kind of think those days are behind us. Like that's how I feel about the Saints. So I love the fact that it's 7.5. If you have it at 7, I'd wait. See if you can get it at 7.5, buy that half point. That could come in clutch here. I don't know that I'm money line confident, so I don't know that I'd go that far. I love the idea of getting more than a touchdown, though. What were you gonna chime in there with? It sounded like you had something good.
We're not gonna end on that shit. We're gonna end on my non-official money line parlay. Not as good as last week because I don't really like any like big dogs. So I'm gonna give you 5 guaranteed winners and then 1 tight one that Ben's not gonna like at all. So
I already hate it.
We got the Tennessee Titans over the New York Jets. This is money line. So Tennessee Titans have to win over the New York Jets. Kansas City Chiefs over the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to win that game. Buffalo Bills over the Houston Texans. Green Bay Packers. Nice. Green Bay Packers. Packers beating the Steelers at home. So that's a lock. Buccaneers against the Patriots. Again, a lock. Brady's not losing. And the one that will bump it up to give you a little extra money, we're taking the Indianapolis Colts. To beat the Miami Dolphins. It's plus 574. Bet $100, win $574.
That's 6 teams.
That's 6 teams. I gave you 5 guaranteers. I was looking through it. I'm like, those are 5 guaranteed wins right there. Now I've got to find my one guy to bump it up.
I was so busy typing and being upset about it that what was the payout plus what?
574. So you win. You bet 574 or buy at 100, you win 574. I just hit confirm. We're going to keep the tradition going. The bet is in.
You're right. We won't end on the hangover after that. I loved that bet. I'm on those teams until you brought in the Colts. And I was like, you just blew a good 5-team parlay.
Oh, we'll see. It's funny because if you win what time do they play?
That's a noon game.
Perfect. If you win that game,
then you coast.
You're in the clear. You're in the clear. You're going to win.
Things you should never assume when gambling.
I'm hot right now. 2 in a row. Who wins 2 in a row money line parlays?
That's pretty cool. And they're like 5 teamers in each of them, aren't they?
Yeah, it's hot. Yeah. I'm hot, boy. I'm burning up.
Are you gonna be back this week for Friday Night Lines?
Friday Night Lines. Yeah, absolutely. I never miss a week.
Well done. And if you haven't been checking out yet, DJ and I have put out a tweet every Saturday with like our best college football bet of the week, the one we feel the best on. DJ, I don't know if you've been paying attention on that. I'm 4-0.
What am I? 3-3, 3-1? Do I 2-2?
No, you missed a week because you were hungover.
No, I won that game. I was giving you the same game and you would take it away. So I get a win for that one too.
Here's the deal. I couldn't count that because when I put the tweet out, I say that our combined record is, and I can't count the same game twice.
You can just double the units.
I haven't been putting units on those. I just been betting.
You just bet whatever you would and then bet it again.
2 wins. I like it.
I accidentally, so it's getting late, but I don't care. I had this strategy. I talk about Barstool. Anyways, so I had this strategy. I'm going to fade this one, the president of Barstool, Dave Portnoy's, every single college football pick this 1 week. So I went through them. I was putting all the picks in. I'm going to fade all of them, right? I ended up with a winning week, but I only got half of them in, and then I had to go out. So I was like, I'm going to do the second half in the morning. I'm going to be hungover, but I have to get it in. Risky. I woke up the next morning to go put in the picks, and I had put in the rest already. And one of the games I put in twice, and it hit. It was awesome. It was like 1:10 a.m., 1:10 a.m., 1:10 a.m., 1:16 a.m. And I'm like, oh no, I put these fucking bets in. I knew how important it was.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a very similar story. I had completely blanked the next day, and then I looked at my total, and I was like, I thought I lost money this week, and I had won money, and I looked back in the same kind of deals, like 2 in the morning. I'm like, woohoo!
Oh my God.
Don't remember doing those 4 bets, but I'm glad that Jack Daniels talked me into it.
Have you been live betting? Like the Saturdays have been getting me in trouble. I started to put more and more money on a game on Saturday, and I was getting murdered by the Tar Heels on Saturday.
Oh yeah, that was a bad game.
Yep, I just kept going down a rabbit hole. Yep, I bet I like tripled my unit bet during the middle of the game, and it just got worse.
I like doing that, like last year and 2 years ago. Since I watch like every Gators game, I like doing that with teams that I watch all the time.
But I watch a lot of teams.
Yeah, but like it's different when it's your team because you feel like you watch every single play and you just know that team a little bit more. So like
there was teams I know better than Nebraska.
That's weird to me, but there's like situations though where it's like I knew that like there were certain things that Florida was going to be doing like later in the game. It's like, okay, well, this drive got screwed up because of this, and they're not going to do that again. And the defense, a cornerback fell down and they scored, and the line is going to move into your favor so much. It's like, okay, well, Florida's a better team than this. I'm getting the line here. If things go the way they should go, I'm going to win this bet. And I won so many live bets doing that over the last 2 years with Florida. So I think my strategy with that is doing it with teams that I watch closely and I know a little bit more about versus like just kind of on a whim.
I'm not doing it on a whim. I'm watching the games. I only get myself in trouble is when I bet and I know I'm on North Carolina. It's lots of times it's North Carolina. And they're such a they're a Jekyll and Hyde team. Is like 1 week they'll be the best team in college football, and the next week they will play like shit, and it just won't get better. But I'll expect them to get better, and I continue to do that because they literally you don't know what they're going to do. I watch that team just as much as any other team in college football, and I for some reason continue to do that. And then this week I guarantee they win by 40.
Yeah, because have they played 4 games or 5 games?
4.
And they've looked really good 2 weeks, and they've looked really bad 2 weeks.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's pretty crazy.
All right,
DJ. Let's end this one. We'll send you into Friday Night Lines. As always, check us out on Twitter at Loaded Box. The website's loadedboxpodcast.com. All of our episodes, our start and sit fantasy articles, our other weekly articles will all be there. Next episode, we'll be back with the same thing for week 5. We're available everywhere you can find a podcast. Subscribe, rate, review. DJ. Send us into week 4.
Bye.